A dangerous moment for our troops and for the Middle East, and even perhaps for the world.
Schumer is saying the president doesn't have a plan or an endgame for Iran and without authorization from Congress or debate with the American people. Fox's Trey Yingst is in Tel Aviv.
There are air raid sirens sounding across all of central Israel. We also understand that in the northern city of Haifa, there are sirens sounding. The Iranians, after about a 7-hour lull, have appeared to launch what appears to be a large barrage of missiles toward this country. Israeli air defense systems are working right now to shoot down the incoming fire.
The Israeli military going after Iran's ballistic missile launchers. America is listening to Fox News.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take DayQuil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the DayQuil.
Undo your flu symptoms with DayQuil Intense Flu. DayQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
DayQuil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching, fever, under your flu, medicine. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
Hear that? That's Mike. He took ZQL Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZQL Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday.
Let's do this Monday.
ZQL Pure Z's, just for sleep. Really great sleep. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Coach! The yellow light! I'm walking here! I'm walking!
Good afternoon and welcome to the Jason Rantz Show. We are here on Seattle Red 770 AM. We are streaming on the Seattle Red app, online at seattlered.com. We've got a ton to get to this hour, including Bob Ferguson announcing he's celebrating a history month named after a concept he can't define. What is a woman? We're going to get into that and so much more. But first, the latest out of Operation Epic Fury.
What's trending? International.
Operation Epic Fury. I don't like the title as much as I liked Midnight Hammer, but I really do like Epic Fury because that's kind of what we saw. Fury coming from the president, coming from Israel against an evil dictatorship, a regime that was murderous, that was in it to not just disrupt the Middle East, but also the West. That's the reality. There have been some people who, of course, no matter what happens, if it comes from Donald Trump, it's automatically the worst thing in the world. And the same voices on the left and some on the right that warned us about the chaos and destruction that would happen as a result of removing Maduro from office in Venezuela. Those same exact people were telling us immediately, within just about 7 hours, upon learning of what happened in Iran Friday overnight, that we're sick and tired of forever wars. That was the first talking point. That was the go-to talking point. And I remembered looking at my Twitter feed and seeing the criticism coming from the left, from the people like Senator Chris Murphy, things like that. The United States, the American people, were sick of forever wars. We were only in it for about 7 or 8 hours. How is this a forever war? Is that just what we call anything that happens in the Middle East? We were just immediately saying it was the forever war? So I'm not entirely sure that that's delivered in good faith. Coming from Chris Murphy, I know normally senators like Chris Murphy and others, they're just so even-keeled in their measured and thoughtful criticism of this president. But man, it really got me thinking. In fact, it was Pete Hegseth earlier this morning, Secretary of War, who said, hey, dummies, it's not forever wars.
We hope the Iranian people take advantage of this incredible opportunity. President Trump has been clear, now is your time. To Iranian security forces, choose wisely. President Trump has also been clear, about your fate in either direction. To the media outlets and political left screaming endless wars, stop.
And Thomas Massey.
This is not Iraq. This is not endless. I was there for both. Our generation knows better, and so does this president. He called the last 20 years of nation-building wars dumb, and he's right. This is the opposite. This operation is a clear, devastating, decisive mission. Destroy the missile threat, destroy the Navy, no nukes.
It seems pretty obvious why it is we did what we did. But again, let's give us all a moment to catch up on where things are. We know some of the obvious, and I'm not going to rehash everything to an absurd degree. We just know that it happened early Saturday morning, our time. It happened there in broad daylight because it just so happened that a whole bunch of Iranian leaders and the Ayatollah were either, in some cases, literally together in the same room, which seems like a mistake when you're surrounded by all of the military ships that we can fit into the region. And some were just in places that they were especially vulnerable. And connected with intel shared between the United States and Israel, we realized, oh, this is a really good opportunity to go after all these bad guys. And it tells you, frankly, where Iranian leadership were, right? Again, that they were out in the open, quote unquote, or put in places that they can so easily be taken out, and they were all hanging out together, tells you that they did not believe anything would happen this time around. And I don't blame them for believing that. Because for how long, how many years, how many decades have they been able to get away with feckless response from not just the United States, but from the globe? How long has this been going on?
47.
Right? I mean, it is, I get where they're coming from. Like, yeah, it's just posturing. And there was reporting going into the weekend. We talked, I think I did this on CNN last Thursday, at least a little bit, that the president was kind of taken aback that Iran was not acting as if they felt threatened by the president's military moves. Yeah, well, that was a mistake. Boy, was that a mistake. And so we got a briefing earlier this morning from the Secretary of War. We also heard from General Raisin Kane. And then the president spoke, and then Marco Rubio spoke. It was funny over the weekend. I saw some of the criticism coming from folks, mostly on the left. He hasn't even gone back to the White House and delivered a message to the American people about what he's doing. Like, he released 2 long videos explaining exactly what it was he was doing over the weekend. I can't believe he released a video in the middle of the morning, Eastern time. Well, that's when the operation was. Had he not done a video after they had started, would you complain that he hadn't told the American people anything? So you're mad that he did the strike at a time where you were in bed? That's not his fault. Again, they acted at a time that they could take advantage of some vulnerability from the Iranian leadership. And the intent was not early in the morning. The intent actually was overnight. That was at least according to the report. But they moved everything up. Now, I don't know if it was that night that they planned to strike or the next day. Maybe it could have been tonight that the original plan was. I don't know. But the reason why they moved was because of the vulnerable position that the Iranian leadership put itself in. And that was a masterful move. That was a good decision by this president and by Israel. It was an absolute good decision. But then the bad faith people said, oh, I don't even know why we're doing this. Like, what's the end goal? There's no plan. What do you mean there's no plan? And what do you mean, what's the end goal? You don't know what the end goal? So even before I play this clip from the president who defines what's happening, and Marco Rubio who did the same thing, and you're going to get the same messaging over the course of the next several days, over and over and over again, explaining why it is they're doing what they're doing. But did we truly not know what this is about? What are just off the top of your head, what's some of the biggest threats that Iran poses to not just the United States, but the globe?
Nuclear missiles.
Right? They could become a nuclear power, okay?
Or even short-ranged missiles.
Which they've been creating at a rate of like 100 per month, which we're not capable of shooting down that many.
It outpaces our missile defense.
Yeah. And that this partly is because of a vulnerability that the United States finds itself in. And obviously this gives us a little bit of time. But those are two really significant ones. Then, of course, you can look at just the more general stuff that Iran has been doing, right? You have clearly, as the leading sponsor of, global terror, we're partly victims to that. Talk to some people in Texas over the weekend, right? Israel, obviously, a victim to all of this. Our maritime industry, victims to all of this. The Houthis still exist. They're not nearly what they once were, thankfully, thanks to the president, but they still exist. Hezbollah still exists. They're a shadow of what they once were, but they still exist. Well, Jay, so the president lied earlier when he said he obliterated the nuclear capabilities. No, the president didn't lie. He took out what we knew about the nuclear capabilities at the time. And how long ago was that?
8 months.
8 months, right? 8 to 9 months. And they continued to try to build their nuclear capability. And rather than give them all the time that they need to develop and develop and develop, and rather risk them developing in places that we don't even know exist. We knew about those 3 sites that we bombed 8 or 9 months ago. What about all the other stuff that we might not know they're working on? That's a problem. In addition, again, to the ballistic missile production and the general posture that they were taking, that they were going to continue to put money into terrorist organizations, both in the Middle East and here in the United States. So here's the president clearly outlining the why.
Our objectives are clear. First, we're destroying Iran's missile capabilities, and you see that happening on an hourly basis, and their capacity to produce brand new ones.
So just again, is that a valid concern that he's taking on? Is that fair? Regardless of whether or not someone is on the right or on the left, and, just I'll give you the echoes of all the Democrats, the smarter ones, I guess, who will say, the Ayatollah, Iran, he was an enemy, the country's an enemy, but ... So they're going to agree at least with the first part here, right? You can disagree with how he goes about it, fine, I guess. I don't know how else you stop them from being a threat with their missiles if you don't get rid of their production.
Pretty good ones they make. Second, we're annihilating their Navy. We've knocked out already 10 ships.
And by the way, I think that number is higher now because this was delivered. What time did he speak? 10-ish?
It was pretty early, yeah.
Or 8 o'clock, I think, our time, 8:30 our time.
They're at the bottom of the sea. Third, we're ensuring that the world's #1 sponsor of terror can never obtain a nuclear weapon. Never going to have a nuclear weapon. I said that from the beginning. They're never going to have a nuclear weapon. They were on the road to getting one legitimately through a deal that was signed foolishly by our country. And finally, we're ensuring that the Iranian regime cannot continue to arm, fund, and direct terrorist armies outside of their borders. And we thought we had a deal, but then they backed out. And they came back, and we thought we had a deal, and they backed out. I said, you can't deal with these people. You got to do it the right way. Today, we grieve.
And you know who also heard that message today? Vladimir Putin. China. I mean, they also saw this.
For the 4 heroic American service members who have been killed in action.
6 now, unfortunately.
And send our love and support to their families. In their memory, we continue this mission with ferocious, unyielding resolve to crush the threat this terrorist regime poses to the American people.
And they very do clearly pose a threat. And again, if this was Joe Biden, this would be celebrated by the left. And frankly, it would be celebrated by the right. Outside of Thomas Massie and Rand Paul. And I don't know why, but Rand Paul doesn't bother me nearly as much as Thomas Massie does. I don't know why. I guess one seems more authentic.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Is that what it is? Just Thomas Massie is, he's aggressively stupid. And he's one of the people who's out there, him and what's her name from The View, Anna Navarro, claim, you're not going to be able to distract us from the Epstein files. You know what? Your obsession, frankly, with the Epstein files is alarming and a little sus, as the kids might say. But no, this had nothing to do with the Epstein files. Shut up.
He's wagging the dog.
It's just like, just stop already. But it's interesting to see how some people are responding to this. You have the Iranian people who are celebrating on the streets, both in Iran and around the world. Iranian Americans celebrating. Iranians who, in some cases, maybe they don't like Donald Trump per se, but they understand that this is all about taking out a deeply dangerous and deadly and oppressive regime, an actual dictator, if you will. It's just absurd. And then you've got the people who pretend that this is somehow bad. And it was curious that there was in Bellevue, we'll play some of the audio a little bit later, there were some folks who took to the streets in support of the president. In Portland, there were a whole bunch more. I don't know, maybe there's a larger population of Iranian Americans in Portland. I have no idea. But they were celebrating, and KATU was there to film.
What we're witnessing is not just a political shift. This represents hope and dignity for Iranians.
This is the Renaissance. This is the Renaissance, believe me.
It's been almost 50 years that globally people can't come to Iran. They are happy, they're dancing, they're celebrating.
Yep.
They want this change. We wanted the end to the violence, and we were willing to take that at any price we could get.
And there's a whole lot of support for Trump and the great evil Bibi Netanyahu, the one who I'm told is the little Satan.
Mr. Trump, we love you.
Bibi, we love you.
Bibi, we love you.
Okay, that's pretty great. And then you come to Seattle. Yeah.
Boots on the ground, bombs in the air. U.S. out of everywhere.
Okay, it's remarkable. And again, not all of them, but many of them are the white privileged kids who live with their parents in Kirkland and on Mercer Island and in Bellevue. That's who we're talking about here. They're the ones screaming death to America. They were out in full force. Nate Friedman, an independent journalist out of New York, he followed a bunch of people who set up camp in Times Square with professionally designed signs, like within minutes of this. It tells you what's going on here. The people who celebrated, they weren't planning these kinds of rallies every day, just like, okay, today might be the day. That was organic. The others are not. And it's the overlap of the anti-Semites who took to the streets, who were bashing Israel, going after Hamas. It's the same group of people that end up getting legitimized by left-wing media. Como covered this, and I think King 5 did. They probably all covered the anti-American. I don't even. How else do you characterize the protests? The pro-Iranian regime protests?
Anti-Western.
Why are we legitimizing these people? The ones who show up are not taking some sort of nuanced point on, foreign policy. They're not out there saying, we hated the Ayatollah. We're glad to see him gone. We hate the Iranian regime and how oppressive it is. However, ... we don't approve of this kind of foreign policy posture. Okay, I'll have that conversation as much as I clearly disagree with it. The people who are out there, they support the Iranian regime. And we're pretending that these are normal activists. They're not. I think that they count as domestic terrorists. It is, again, truly remarkable how some people want to respond. And then at the global level, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, he did an interview this morning on Fox News applauding the president.
Let me also say that the commander-in-chief, the leader of the free world, President Donald J. Trump, I really commend what is happening here. Taking out Khamenei, taking out the nuclear capability in Iran, but also...
And by the way, not just taking out Khomeini, but like almost everyone underneath him, including some of the people who are like, yeah, I guess if he took over, he'd be okay. Let's take our chances with that. Oh, no, we killed him too? Oh, he's out? I mean, we went after Ahmadinejad. I have not said that guy's name or attempted to spell it in years. Mehdi Hassan, the former MSNBC loser, now just current unemployed loser, goes on Twitter saying, this is the equivalent of going after former President George Bush. He's a civilian. this is a war crime. I mean, spare me.
Taking out the ballistic missile program in Iran. This is crucial. And what I see in Europe, I spoke with all the key European leaders over the weekend, is widespread support for what the president is doing, and also making sure that when it comes to logistics, access, defending key U.S. interests in Europe and in the region, the Europeans are really stepping up.
Now, Iran is obviously retaliating. And I don't want to dismiss, of course, 6 Americans killed, and they can't be simply dismissed as a casualty of war. But at the same time, it's also true that, and I made this point last week on CNN, we overstate and have overstated the military might and threat posed by Iran for decades. And to me, after their attempt to retaliate against Israel, what was, again, 8-ish months ago, that was a massive failure. Oh, we're going to send some drones that you can see coming your way over the course of 8 hours and easily be able to knock them out. 1 or 2 got through. I don't even remember if there were any casualties. There was definitely some injuries. There might have been a handful of casualties. But when I saw that response, I knew that everything even I believed about the potential military threat coming from Iran was wrong. And what we're seeing right now makes that point. Now, perhaps some of it is because they don't have any, significant leadership in play because they're mostly dead. Some of this is just automated. I was listening to some of the coverage over the weekend. They've got automated systems that are designed to just fire almost indiscriminately, which is perhaps why they're going after some Muslim countries, which is a massive mistake, as it turns out. Did you know that Saudi Arabia and like Jordan, they don't want to be hit by Iranian missiles?
Even the Palestinian Authority condemned it. It's like, wow.
The only thing left is like the Houthis will put out a tweet, say, hey, just for nothing, but let's be a little bit more responsible and stop indiscriminately firing. You're giving us a bad look. We indiscriminately fire against Jews, but that's about it. So it seems to not be working out for them very well. But we did learn today that Fox News is saying cleric Ayatollah Alireza Arafi has been tapped as interim leader of their council following the death of Ali Khamenei, and he's considered a hardliner, which you must be in order to take on a job that you'll likely be killed in the next 24 hours or so. So, I mean, no one will ever say he's not a believer. He's not really passionate about hating the West, hating Jews and hating Americans. But he's a senior figure in Iran's religious establishment. He has led the seminary system. He served in the Guardian Council. He's held a seat in the Assembly of Experts, which is that they're not as expert as you might think. It's just they're really good at hating Jews and Americans. And he's, a name in the clerical world in Iran, but, okay. Oh, yeah, good for him. We'll take him out too. The end goal here is not, we heard this from Pete Hegseth earlier today, that this is not regime change, but the regime is changing. And that's a good way to put this. The goal isn't regime change in the traditional sense, meaning we're not going to go in and handpick people. We certainly don't want some and we want others, right? But this is on the Iranians. And the president, about a month ago, he drew a line in the sand. He drew his red line. And he said to the Iranian people who were standing up on the streets, pushing back against their government, that we're going to have their backs. Iran's, at the time, Ayatollah ordered the death via the IRGC of over 30,000 Iranians, scores more put in jail over their uprising. And we told them that we would have their backs. And it was during a commercial break on CNN where we were talking about this, because we had talked about this on air. And I don't remember who, but one of the panelists kind of said, and it would appear that we crossed the red line and we have no response. And I said, I wish this was on TV, because I said, did you look in the sea around? Like, we're clearly setting up to back them. What are you talking about? And then 2 days later, this ends up happening. 2 days later. It was obvious that this is where it was going to happen. The timing we didn't know, but it was obvious that this was going to happen. And now it's about getting the public on the president's side. The polling suggests that the American people are not on his side, which I'm not surprised by, because there are people who think we have boots on the ground. In fact, there are Democrats who want you to think that we have boots on the ground, and we intend to have boots on the ground. And, earlier, Pete Hegseth, he wouldn't say categorically, under no circumstance would there be boots on the ground, because his response to a question was, I'm not going to tell you what our plan is. That would be stupid to tell you what our plan is. But it's also, we know that there's not going to be boots on the ground. And the president has already said that. But no, he won't rule it out. Well, in the context of not ruling out literally anything because he doesn't want to tell our enemies what it is we're thinking, I guess it's right. But they're trying to confuse people. The average person has no idea what's going on or why. And that's why over the course of the next week to several weeks, you're going to hear nothing but, the administration making the case over and over and over again. And I get that there's some Republicans who think America first means isolationism. That's not what America first means. This is America first. Our security is first. Well, they're just doing it because AIPAC is buying. Okay, just spare me all the anti-Semitic nonsense. And yes, you're an anti-Semite if you spread that stupid claim. 1-800-465-8770 for your text messages. 1-800-465-8770. The Wall Street Journal is calling out Washington Democrats yet again. Plus, Bob Ferguson is celebrating something he's not willing to define. We'll get into that and so much more when we come back on the Jason Rantz Show.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take DayQuil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the DayQuil.
Undo your flu symptoms with DayQuil Intense Flu. DayQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
DayQuil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching, fever, under your flu, medicine. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz here. Over the weekend, I thought it was daylight savings time. I got up on Sunday morning. I was like, I feel really good, even though I got 1 hour less, 1 hour fewer. And then I realized once I looked at all the clocks in my home and my cell phone, they all match. I was like, oh, wait a minute, it's next week. So that's me getting confused when it's not actually daylight saving time. What do you think happens when it actually is daylight savings time? And people are out there driving on the road. There was a study that was done in Current Biology that looked at the crashes that take place around this time. And unfortunately, there's a ton of crashes that take place. And if you find yourself in that unfortunate position where you're in a car accident, it's not your fault. You have to get in touch with the Herald Car Law offices. That's going to save you time and money when dealing with insurance. You see, this is a local law firm that takes on auto and truck accidents, wrongful death, and bad faith insurers. The website is carlaw.com. There are 2 R's in car, C-A-R-R. You don't have to take on an insurance company alone. Carr and his dedicated 48-person team are there to fight for you and deal with the insurance company so you don't have to. The Herald Car Law offices can help. Carlaw.com, C-A-R-R. Car accident? Call Carr.
Are you in pain? Have you considered surgery or even joint replacement? Hi, everybody. It's John Curley. Before you make that decision, I recommend you see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. I did, and it's been a game changer. My doctor took a look at my x-rays and said, well, looks like you need a whole new hip. And then he said, wait, how old are you? And I told him, and then he said, well, wait, you're too young for a hip. You're just going to have to, live with the pain. We'll see in 3 years. It was horrible. Dr. Wagner is a board-certified Seattle physician with over 30 years of experience performing more than 20,000 stem cell procedures using a person's own stem cells to regenerate cartilage in their own joints. People with severe osteoarthritis, even bone on bone, are back doing what they enjoy doing without pain and without surgery. So whether it's a hip like I had or a shoulder, elbow, ankle, wrist, or knee, before choosing surgery, see Dr. Mark Wagner first. Go to drmarkwagnermd.com.
Gold demand is skyrocketing to record highs. As more Americans rush to preserve their savings, will there be enough gold? I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe physical gold is the only way to truly protect your 401k or IRA savings. Gold offers tangible security that can't be tracked, stolen, or inflated. That's why I strongly advocate for gold IRAs. To learn more, text the word SECURE to 989898 now. Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust, and their thousands of great reviews prove I'm not alone. So don't wait another second. Protect your retirement savings today and see how easy it is to move your IRA or 401k into physical precious metals. Text SECURE to the number 989898 for your free gold IRA info kit. Again, SECURE to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply.
This hour of the Jason Rantz Show is brought to you by General Transmission Repair.
Welcome back to the Jason Rantz Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. March is a big month for Jackson. Huge fan of women's history. He's just going on about Susan B. Anthony and Harriet Tubman, which I think is a little bit of a conflict. I feel like that should be put into February, but nonstop.
Yep.
Nonstop. Talking about what's her name from Planned Parenthood.
Oh, Margaret Sanger?
He won't shut up about it.
It's the only thing bigger than March Madness. I love college basketball, but definitely women's history.
Pales in comparison.
To Women's History Month.
I mean, come on. I lose track of the months that are meant to celebrate, whatever it is. There's a Jewish American History Month. I think it's May or April. Look that up. Or Jewish Culture Month, something like that. I didn't even know we had it until last year, which is why I don't even remember when it is. Although in this country, I sincerely doubt that anyone actually celebrates that, certainly not in the Seattle area.
Yep, it's May.
It's May. And I don't know. I don't feel like my people need a month. Every day to me is Jewish Heritage Day. I don't need a month. But I saw on Twitter last night Bob Ferguson next to his wife who looks like Bob Ferguson.
Okay, I'm glad I didn't have to say it. But yeah, it's like him with a wig on, basically.
It is kind of remarkable. And I don't mean that in an insulting way, and I don't mean like she's trans. That's not what I mean. She looks like his sister. They both have that really nerdy look with the glasses and the clothes. It's just kind of funny. But they're doing a video for Women's History Month, which I found ironic.
Hi, I'm Washington State Governor Bob Ferguson.
You're posting it on your Twitter feed. You don't have to introduce yourself as Washington's Governor Bob Ferguson.
And I'm First Lady Colleen Ferguson.
Oh, we assumed that you were a Ferguson for sure.
Happy Women's History Month.
Back in
Is she being held hostage? I know he's just naturally awkward. She's just uncomfortable.
1908 in Washington State, a woman by the name of Dr. Cora Smith Eden literally took a banner that said "Votes for Women" and climbed Mount Rainier to support women's suffrage.
And just 1 year later, Washington women earned the right to vote.
That was a decade before we adopted the 19th Amendment. So on behalf of my wife Colleen and the entire Ferguson family, we wish all of you a really wonderful Women's History Month.
The irony of a man who either can't or won't define a woman posting this is very, very, very thick. That's what's funny about this. And I couldn't have been the only person who noticed that. This is a guy who politically either cannot or will not define a woman while then celebrating Women's History Month so people will look at him and give him, I guess, some extra points for the symbolism over substance. And how do you think he's going to be commemorating Women's History Month. What do you think he's going to be doing? This video, I'm assuming there might be some roundtable with powerful, independent women that he'll pretend to be interested in, and then maybe a press release or two over the course of the next month. Anyone on any side of any issue in any month, when they say they're celebrating, no, they're not. They're not. They really aren't. Again, this is a man claiming to support women's history while backing a party that can't offer a clear, consistent definition of what it is they're celebrating, because that clarity might upset the base of their party. And upsetting the activists that they rely on to keep them in power and then post-power keep them wealthy might cost him too much. And there's not going to be a single news outlet who shows up to whatever press event he holds this month pretending to care about this, who will say, hey, can you define what a woman is? There won't be a single press outlet, except, again, I'm not counting like Jonathan Cho or Brandy Cruz, or if I was ever bored enough to show up to one of these things. Don't worry, guys, I'm not. You don't have to deny me a press pass. I don't want one right now. But outside of them, you know, Como and King 5, it's Seattle Times, News Tribune, Spokesman Review, they're not asking him to explain how he can claim to support women's rights while simultaneously working to erase women by pretending that biological males are exactly the same as women. And when it comes to actually defending policies that truly affect women, man, he suddenly gets murky about his celebration of women. Isn't that weird? When it comes to shared locker room spaces, all of a sudden he's not really celebrating women. When it comes to females competing against other females, girls against girls versus boys, all of a sudden, not really putting out that video celebrating women's history and everything they fought for. Only have some dweeb step in and say, oh, actually, this space is also for biological men. If you put the interests of actual women ahead of the loudest activists within his own party, if he shut down the loudest people on social media who pretend a boy can be a girl, then, you know what, I'd give him a little bit of credit for standing up to his party. He'd be like the nerdy John Fetterman. But no, he's unwilling to do that. And so why do people just give him credit for this kind of garbage? Don't give him credit for this. All this deserves is ridicule. That's it. That's all it deserves. Speaking of ridicule, Washington Democrats over the weekend, again on the House side, they move forward with their budget. They're still debating the income tax, which is obviously unconstitutional. Before the weekend, Washington State Standard had some story about how Bob Ferguson is continuing to pretend that he doesn't support the current income tax, even though it doesn't matter, because even if he were to veto it, they can just overcome that veto. But the debate still goes on, and it's not a debate that we think we're going to win. We know we're going to lose this debate in Olympia. The debate is about putting a spotlight on this issue so that Washington voters are aware of what's happening. Even on this issue, as much as the media has obviously covered it, they're not covering it in overdrive, right? They're not giving it as much coverage as it deserves. And they're not hearing from the average lawmaker on the right calling this out, or the average lawmaker on the left pretending that what they're doing is somehow just, which is what Charlotte Mena, the Democrat from Tacoma, is trying to pretend.
It ensures that we have the resources to invest in early learning, childcare, public education, healthcare, food assistance, and workforce development programs.
But you have the funding. You just added $2 extra billion to your budget. We don't need that. You're not cutting anything. And of course, what they don't explain is how they're going to make up for the funds once all the millionaires leave. Because their end result, they know, is deeply unpopular, which is to tax everyone. You start with the millionaires and billionaires, then you go to someone who makes more than $250,000 a year, then you go to $100,000, then you just put it upon everyone. That is clearly their end goal. Here's State Representative Cindy Jacobson, the Republican from Puyallup.
Capital flight is not a myth.
People who make this kind of money are able to leave. They often have domiciles in other states that they can just change their address to.
And kudos to folks like Brian Haywood, who, when he testified a couple weeks against this millionaire tax, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but he's like, I know how to structure my money so I'm not impacted by this. Like, I know what to do here. So you're not collecting it from me. So where are you going to make up for those funds? Because remember, they are basing their budget on monies that haven't been collected. And again, their end result is to get in front of the Supreme Court, Washington Supreme Court, and have them redefine what property is so that they can go ahead and institute a tax against everyone. That is their end goal.
That's what we're doing. We're causing the innovators and the people who hire people to have to leave this state.
They don't think, despite all of the evidence that this is real and all of the actual people who left, they don't think this one will do anything more. Or to quote, who did we play last week? Majority Leader. What's his name? His name escapes me for some reason.
Fitzgibbon?
No, the other one.
Peterson.
Yes, thank you. Jamie, the other dweeb on the Senate side, the House. You know, he did that interview on CNBC that essentially said, the people who are going to leave, they already left. Which I don't think he thought through when he said it, but that's really what he... Clearly they didn't all leave, but you're making it really easy for them to. And whether it's Peterson or Fitzgibbon or Mena or any of the other Democrats who want to pretend that the reality isn't the reality, they're going to wake up and realize that the end goal of taxing everyone won't go on their own timeline. They're going to have to do that quicker than they otherwise plan to, which is going to hurt them even more. Janice Zahn, Democrat from Mercer Island, she was one of the Democrats that voted to pass an amendment banning sales tax on items like diapers. So even when they were given opportunities from Republicans to give a little bit of a pass to working families, she's all like, I mean, I guess I'll do it, but Democrats don't want to do it, and what do I do?
And just make it easier for everyday people to be able to pay for food and not have to make choices between food, rent, and diapers.
Didn't she lose that vote, though? Ed Orcutt from Kalama. I'll pretend to be very familiar with Kalama. Kalama Harris, he's a Republican. Speaking to Como, said the people don't want an income tax no matter what income tax bracket they happen to find themselves in. Can't you get this through your thick heads?
People are opposed to any form of an income tax, no matter how it's put forth, no matter who it's written initially to affect. My constituents don't believe it will ever stay as it's being presented today.
Does anyone actually think this is only going to stay with the millionaires? I mean, honestly, even the Democrats out there who are supporting this because they hate success, even they have to understand that this is going to impact everyone, right? Right? I refuse to believe that they're that dumb. They might be evil, but they're not all dumb. Well, they're dumb, but they're not that. Well, no, never mind. Maybe they are that dumb. 1-800-465-8770 if you want to send me a text. 1-800-465-8770. We have intern Duncan, our 11-year-old, pouring through the many, many, many hours of deposition video from Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton from last week. He's pulled some gems for us. We'll play them when we return, including Hillary Clinton storming out after she got photographed by Lauren Boebert, that dum-dum. They're both two dummies. We're gonna get into the really funny audio when we come back on the Jason Rantz Show.
Homeowners, stop what you're doing right now and listen up, because Puget Sound Energy has new rebates that have never been this high. If insufficient insulation or no insulation at all in your crawl space or attic are impacting your energy bills, now's the time to get your free inspection from Northwest Crawl Space Services, because these PSC rebates could pay for up to 95% of your project, and that could mean thousands of dollars in savings on your job. But make sure you hire a crawl space company that's PSC certified, because not every company can offer these rebates. Don't miss out. Call today, and the team from Northwest Crawl Space Services are happy to give you a free energy savings consultation. Northwest Crawl Space Services will get rid of the critters, re-insulate your home, and hook you up with big-time savings and PSC rebates. Remember, these guys can solve any crawl space or attic problem, no exceptions. See if you qualify for savings from PSC. Go to nwcrawlspace.com.
Thanks for calling CM Heating. How can I help?
Yeah, hi. Aren't you the company that gives away free furnaces?
Yep, that's us. Buy a qualifying high-efficiency cooling system and the furnace is absolutely free.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, and our home comfort advisors are tax credit and rebate specialists, so we'll help you save the most and even handle the rebate process start to finish.
Amazing, but what if I just need a furnace?
All good. Furnaces start at just $69.99 a month. And don't forget to ask about our clean air upgrades, because with all the smoke from wildfires, these systems filter out pollen, dust, and harmful particles, keeping the air in your home clean and healthy all year long.
Sweet.
Go to CM Heating for better comfort, lower bills, a free furnace you'll love for years, and cleaner air for your home. Get your free estimate for furnace replacement at cmheating.com. And remember, for furnaces, fireplaces, hot water, total home comfort, and electrical service,
There's no beating CM Heating.
I saw her texting, coming up to a stop sign. And so I saw the accident coming, and she T-boned us.
In the blink of an eye, Crystal's life changed when she suffered a severe spinal injury.
The pain was something I had never experienced before in my neck. I got massage therapy. I saw a chiropractor. I was prescribed muscle relaxers so I could sleep. I got depressed. Nothing was relieving the pain.
Drugs, sleepless nights, and depression. Sound familiar? I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist. At Sound Pain Solutions, our treatments include high-dose laser combined with spinal decompression and other comprehensive therapies to rehabilitate damaged discs. We use treatments that are non-surgical, FDA-cleared, drug and pain-free.
I was able to get off my pain medicines, and I was able to sleep through the night, and that was what I was desperate for.
To learn if you're a candidate for our treatment, call us. Sound Pain Solutions, 855-996-0025, or click soundpainsolutions.com.
Be a part of all the excitement at Beasley Coliseum this year. Come cheer on the Washington State Cougars men's and women's basketball teams as they host the likes of Gonzaga, St. Mary's, and Oregon State in conference play this season. Don't miss out on all the action. Grab your tickets to upcoming WSU basketball games today at WSUCougars.com/tix. Again, that's WSUCougars.com/TIX. See you at Beasley Coliseum. Go Cougs!
Spring is right around the corner, but the perfect time to start your outdoor project is right now. Natural Design Landscaping has been serving Seattle and the East Side for nearly 30 years. They design, build, and maintain stunning outdoor spaces, from full makeovers to weekly maintenance. Beat the spring rush and get your yard project started today. Mention Seattle Red and get 10% off your first service. Visit naturaldesignlandscape.com to schedule your consultation. Natural Design Landscaping, let's build something wonderful together.
Welcome back to the Jason Rantz Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. We started to get some of the video released today of the two depositions, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, from last Thursday and Friday. By the way, as I told you last week, all the Democrats joined the Republicans in voting for Bill Clinton to testify under oath, and I believe only 3 of the Democrats joined all the Republicans on Hillary Clinton. I agree that the Hillary Clinton decision here was mostly political from the left, but not entirely political. Why might you talk with Hillary Clinton despite I've not heard any allegations of any kind of wrongdoing. There certainly haven't been any emails that even out of context could paint that picture. Well, it's because her husband does have a close connection to Epstein, and she might know some details about that. Ghislaine Maxwell had connections to Hillary Clinton, even if they were loose. And I think that it's worth asking those questions. But I certainly believe that it was more political than not. I don't think it was as political with Bill Clinton. All of this becomes political, I suppose, to a degree. But not helping the cause was Lauren Boebert, who I get so frustrated with her. I've interviewed her a number of times. I've met her a number of times when I was doing the sort of CPAC circuit. They all, as far as I know, slept through the night fine without any breathing disturbances. But on air, on screen, she can come off as very dopey and partisan hacky. She really can. Off air, she's very smart. Every time I had a conversation with her off air, I was getting frustrated. I'm like, why aren't you acting like this when the microphone is on? Like, she has a firm grasp on a lot of the issues, and she speaks with clarity. And if she did that more often, I think she would be taken more seriously. And there was a time where Lauren Boebert was kind of all over television and getting a whole lot of coverage, and then she kind of just went away. Kind of like the Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz, like that whole group, Paul Gosar, they all kind of just were pushed aside. Thankfully, better for us. Some of them still in Congress, others not. But she decided to take a photo of Hillary Clinton being deposed, and she argues that when she did it and posted it, it was before the proceedings even started. But that was obviously against the rules, or at a bare minimum, the spirit of the rules. And now we've got, and Duncan pulled this immediately. I don't even know how he found this. I think he just cheated and went to Mediaite or Gravian or something. But our 11-year-old intern spotted this clip and jumped on it as Hillary storms out of the room as her lawyers get very upset.
Being released of the secretary as she is testifying from inside this room. Can you please advise me as to whether or not that's permissible and consistent with the rules, particularly given that we have asked for a public hearing? If there are photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying.
But I also love it. We called for a public hearing on a recorded segment that was going to be released to the public within about a day and a half.
Can you please explain how that
I'm done with this. If you guys are doing that, I am done. You can hold me in contempt from now until the cows come home. This is just typical behavior.
We will go off the record.
I'm outraged.
So I would like to understand how that's permissible.
Before the hearing was...
It doesn't matter. We all are abiding by the same rules.
I will take that down.
Yeah,
So
well.
I would like to take a break at this moment.
Yeah,
and I'd like to have
I'm
a
done
conversation.
for now.
Well, she was back about an hour later. Lauren Boebert comes off as weak and stupid in that clip. Oh, I'll take it down. I'll take it. How did she not realize that that was going to cause a problem? That's why she secretly took the photo. And again, it makes this look even more political, which is not a good look. And then she's the one who was asking about Pizzagate. And ironically, if she were just a little bit smarter, she could have made this into is this why we're talking about Pizzagate? Because of the Epstein files? Was this the impetus for whomever started that vile rumor and conspiracy? No, she didn't make it sound that way at all.
In past public statements, as in 2017 speeches and interviews, you described Pizzagate as a baseless conspiracy theory, alleging you and others ran a child sex trafficking ring from a Washington pizzeria basement. Have you reviewed any 2025-2026 Epstein files that were released that you believe reference or relate to those specific 2016 claims?
Now, again, I think I know what she's doing here. And I'm not even all that upset with pinning what happened with, I think what she's trying to say was, did this phony conspiracy come out of something true from the Epstein files? Meaning Pizzagate is nonsense, but was it based in some truth as to what was going on with the Epstein files? I think that's what she meant. And that's not an awful question. I don't know why you're asking Hillary the question. I don't know why you're asking it in that way. And that's where she gets into the most trouble.
Regarding the Podesta emails, Comet Ping Pong Pizza used as code possibly?
I'm sorry,
You're asking her about whether she's reviewed emails in the Epstein files which relate to the wacky Pizzagate scandal.
You could characterize it however you want. I just would like to know if
It's
she's
wacky
familiar with any
and
of them.
dangerous.
So
She's
excuse me,
commenting.
your question is about whether or not she has reviewed any emails in the Epstein release files about Pizzagate.
Correct.
Pizzagate was totally made up. It was an outrageous allegation that ended up hurting a number of people, that caused a deranged young man to show up with his assault rifle and shoot up a local pizzeria. I can't believe you're even referencing it. You should be...
There are connections to the language.
Well,
I'm
the
not talking
QAnon
about,
people believe there are, so
I don't know what QAnon
have at
people
it.
believe.
Have at it.
Yes, you do.
But you've accused
You know exactly what QAnon people believe. Well, I don't understand why you would do that. Again, knowing this is going to be public, why lean into that without any clear direction? Now, you know, Duncan watched a little bit more of the video, which, by the way, for an 11-year-old, was able to pick out some really good clips. He got a Bill Clinton one we'll play in the next hour. Good on him for being able to spot these clips. In retrospect, I don't know if we should put an 11-year-old on an Epstein files.
Yeah, is that
related.
appropriate?
Well, first of all, you're the one who made that decision, not me. I asked you to pull the video.
Well, I got a lot of work to do. Okay.
All I'm saying is
delegate.
You could have delegated something else and maybe put two and two together.
Well, the other
and say,
thing, you know, the other stuff required more, you know,
nuance,
yeah,
understanding of. He's
experienced hands.
Well,
yeah.
Just saying, he's rather astute. But let's have you handle this stuff from now on. Tell him to stop watching the clips. He's weirdly interested in the deposition. Although I will say I am too. It's like between the two of the videos, it's like 10 hours. So there's a lot. It's Jason Rantz Show.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Will?
When I was 50, my whole life fell apart. I lost my job, I lost my wife, I lost the house, I lost pretty much everything except for my life. When the IRS came calling, I just didn't have it in me. I felt like Wile E. Coyote, just waiting for that IRS anvil to drop.
Then Will found tax relief advocates.
I heard their advertisement on the radio, I wrote down the number, and I made the call that changed everything. The IRS gave me a bill for $40,000. Tax Relief Advocates got that down to $3,200. I've paid 9 cents on the dollar. Now that's a great deal in anybody's book.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Will did and call TRA for a consultation.
But for me, the real win is I got my life back.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-488-2578. 800-488-2578. That's 800-488-2578.
Hey, how's your money situation? Are you ready for retirement? Well, if you want to know what the pros are doing to make wealth multiply and retire like royalty, then you need to listen to this show, The Money Professor, with Chris Longworth. Get your money right and tune in every weekend, Saturdays at 10 a.m. and Sundays at 12 noon on Seattle Red.
I remember brushing my hair and looking down and thinking, oh my gosh, do I have any hair left? I used to look at women with thick, beautiful hair and think, why doesn't my hair look like that?
My thinning hair is making me feel so old.
If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. With clinically proven ingredients like apple extract, biotin, and millet, Hair Volume nourishes your hair follicles to promote thicker, healthier-looking hair. Say goodbye to shedding, thin, and dull hair, and hello to thick, healthy hair with Hair Volume.
Since taking Hair Volume, the shedding has all but stopped. Now, instead of being jealous of other women's hair, I have friends who are jealous of mine.
My hairdresser couldn't believe the difference in my hair. Now she's using Hair Volume too.
Available as a tablet or delicious gummy, Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com, or find Hair Volume in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
John Curley here. Did you know a new heat pump is a smart choice for total home comfort? That's right. One heat pump does the work of a furnace and air conditioner. And if your system's over 12 years old, it's on borrowed time, and it could be costing you up to 20% more than today's ultra-efficient models. Get heating and cooling for the price of AC. Visit HomeComfortAlliance.com for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical. Call the comfort people. Home Comfort Alliance. HomeComfortAlliance.com.
Seattle Red on 770 KTTH Seattle, 97.3 KIRO FM, HD3 Tacoma Seattle, 94.5 K233 DT Eastway 33 BU Seattle.
The strikes against Iran will continue. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump says it will take 4 to 5 weeks for the military to achieve its objectives in Iran, explaining his reasoning for taking the action.
The regime already had missiles capable of hitting Europe and our bases, both local and overseas, and would soon have had missiles capable of reaching our beautiful America.
The president says this was our best chance to strike, while also paying tribute to the service members who were killed. The Pentagon now says 6 service members have been killed in that action against Iran. Key members of Congress briefed on the action.
The objective was not regime change. The objective was to take out those missiles, the short and mid-range missiles, and their ability to produce them. We did that. That was objective number 1. Objective number 2 was to eliminate their naval capabilities.
House Speaker Mike Johnson, but Virginia Democratic Senator Mark Warner says while he sheds no tears for the demise of the Iranian regime.
I've said before, I've said now, there was no imminent threat to the United States of America.
He said if there was a threat to Israel, and if we're acting because of that, we're in what he called uncharted territory. Israel's been under attack since the start of the conflict.
The war has now expanded to Israel's northern front, with the Iran-backed terror group Hezbollah launching rockets into northern Israel overnight. In response, the Israelis striking targets across Lebanon. Israeli sources tell Fox News that 30 Hezbollah operatives were killed and significant damage was caused to the Lebanese capital of Beirut. We're also learning that Hezbollah still has up to 12,000 missiles and rockets in its arsenal.
Fox's Trey Inks in Tel Aviv. The State Department urging U.S. citizens to leave more than a dozen Middle Eastern countries due to safety risks. America's listening to Fox News.
Honey, that flu keeping you up? Did you take NyQuil Intense Flu?
Nah, I got this. Okay, I don't got this.
Yeah, you need NyQuil Intense Flu.
Undo your flu with NyQuil Intense Flu. NyQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms so you can sleep.
You do got this.
NyQuil Intense Flu. The nighttime sniffling, aching fever. Best sleep with the flu medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hear that? That's Mike. He took ZzzQuil Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZzzQuil Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday.
Let's do this Monday.
ZzzQuil Pure Z's, just for sleep. Really great sleep. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Coach! The yellow light! God, I'm walking here!
Good afternoon and welcome to the Jason Rantz Show. We are here live on Seattle Red 770 AM. Streaming from the Seattle Red studios in Seattle. I am back, at least for the next few days, from New York. We got a lot to get to this hour, including a huge victory for parental rights coming from the U.S. Supreme Court. We're going to get into that and so much more. But first, lots of people suddenly paying attention to the price of gas. Well, what's that about? That's what's trending, brought to you by Legacy Group Capital, Common Sense Lending.
What's trending? International.
There's no doubt that we will see a bump in the cost of oil, which will then translate to the cost at the pump for at least the next several weeks. I think that is reasonable. What's not reasonable in the coverage here in Washington State is to have any conversation that ignores the taxes that we pay as a direct result of Democrat policies. That I find wild. That is so wild to me. We have 50 plus cents being added to every gallon